my channel where I'm sharing my TTC journey after being diagnosed with PCOS. And in today's video, I'm going to catch you up on how my ovulation tracking has been going and also answer some of your questions that you sent across to me via Instagram. So if you missed my video where I talked about how I'm tracking my ovulation, I will link that down below, and it also included all the different things that I use, including like my thermometer and ovulation sticks and things like that. So go and check that out. But today I thought I would just catch you up on how my ovulation tracking has been going this month. This is the first time that I've actually tracked like the whole way through the month, from the last day of my period up to sort of now. And if I'm honest, I don't quite know how it's going. I don't know whether I have actually ovulated. I guess I will be able to see whether my period comes, and that will give me an indication of whether I did ovulate. But this process is not straightforward at all, and that might be because of my PCOS, and that means that things aren't quite as normal as somebody who doesn't have PCOS. But you'll see when I show you my ovulation sticks, there is a time where it looks like I ovulated, but the line wasn't as dark as the control line or darker, so I don't quite know whether that was me ovulating or not. So I'll quickly show you what it's looking like so far. We are on cycle day 22 at the moment, and when my periods are regular, my cycle is usually about 32 days long. So at the moment I've still got 10 days until my period is due. But let me grab my book, let me show you what it's looking like, and you can help me figure out whether I actually ovulated or not. Okay, so as you can see, I started tracking on the 13th of Jan, which was cycle day 7. So it was just towards the end of my period, and rightfully so, I didn't get a second line. And then when we got to day 10, I started to see a really faint line starting to appear. And then if we move our way down, as we got to cycle day 16, the second line did start to get a little bit darker, and then on day 17 I got my darkest line. But even still, that darkest line isn't as dark as or darker than the control line. And if we move across to my temperature, it did go up slightly, but not that much. My temperature did increase more on day 18, but then if we look at the ovulation strip, that line has definitely got lighter compared to day 17. So I don't know whether I actually ovulated here. And then as we continue, we're on day 19, 20, 21, and then 22. You can see the lines have got a lot lighter. So I have made some changes when I've been tracking my ovulation. I get up every morning and take my temperature first thing, because I know that that is probably going to be the most accurate temperature for me. But then I started to do my ovulation sticks later in the day. I was generally doing my ovulation strips first thing in the morning when I got up. But when I was doing some research, it suggested that it's probably best to do those ovulation strips a little bit later in the day to get a more accurate LH surge. So that's what I've been doing. I will take my temperature first thing in the morning, go about my day, and then around 10:30 when I need a wee after my morning coffee and some water, that is when I've been doing my test strip. So I'm hoping that's going to give me more of an accurate representation of when I am ovulating or whether I have a surge in LH. But looking at that book, what I wish I had done is on day 17 and 18, when I did get a darker line, I wish I'd tested more often throughout the day. I have seen other women who will test maybe 3 times on a day when they get a darker line. That is something to take into consideration next month when I go through this process again, that when that line does start to get a little bit darker, I am going to test more often throughout the day to see whether that LH surge maybe occurs later on in the evening, and I maybe then know for definite that I did ovulate, where at the moment, to me, they are negative test strips. Maybe I'll know more if I get my period this month. Maybe that was me ovulating. I don't know. Because this is the first month that I've tracked all the way through, I still feel like I'm quite new to this process. I'm still learning. It is just a learning curve at the moment. However, I have been a little bit hesitant to try for a baby this month because I'm still under investigation from the doctors and I'm still experiencing some pain and discomfort, so I just haven't felt comfortable actually trying to get pregnant when I don't quite know what's going on. I don't know whether down the line I'm going to need some extra examinations, or I don't know. I've put it off this month. I'm waiting to get my scan results, which hopefully I should get in the next 2 weeks, and then the doctor can start to think about what we can do going forward, whether that is I get referred to gynecology for more investigation, or whether we can talk about medication for ovulation. Everything just feels a little bit up in the air, so I'm just really going to try and concentrate on the ovulation tracking for now and nailing that, and yeah, trying to get my ducks in a row, get a plan going to hopefully try and conceive in 2021, because there's absolutely nothing else going on for me this year. So that was a really quick update on my ovulation. Obviously I've not got my period yet. I will continue to track my ovulation until I'm due to get my period. Fingers crossed that comes. So I'll also update you to let you know whether that arrives, because that would be great. And now, just so this video wasn't really short, I went onto Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, it is just Healthy by Habit, the same as my YouTube. And I asked you guys to send me any questions that you had, whether it was related to contraception, periods, PCOS, going for scans and things like that, so I could try and answer any burning questions that you had. So I've made a note of some of the questions here, and I just thought I'd quickly answer them in this video, and hopefully this will help some of you guys as well. So somebody asked me, what does PCOS feel like? And I can only speak from my experience, because for me, I have been experiencing a lot of pain and discomfort and bloating, as you guys know, but that isn't always necessarily associated with PCOS, which is why I'm still under investigation. A lot of women have absolutely no symptoms and don't even know that they've got PCOS. And then other women have a lot of symptoms. So somebody asked me what PCOS was, and it's really difficult to explain because PCOS for many women is so different. Generally, you need to meet certain criteria in order to have PCOS, and for me that was actually having polycystic ovaries. So on my scan they could see that I had polycystic ovaries, whereas other women don't always have that on the scan, but they might have things like high testosterone, acne, excess hair and things like that. So PCOS is really complicated, and there's so many different aspects to it in order for you to get diagnosed with PCOS. But for me, it was the polycystic ovaries on the scan. My testosterone is normal. I don't really have acne. I do get flare-ups now and again, and I am not particularly hairy, although I did notice the other day that I have grown a little bit of a moustache which I am mad about, and luckily I'm blonde and you can't really see it, but in the light she's there. So yeah, I will drop some links down below explaining in more detail what PCOS is, but as I say, it's quite a complicated and I would say under-researched and not very well understood condition, which makes this journey even more stressful. Somebody else asked how PCOS affects fertility and whether it's affected my fertility. PCOS affects fertility because you don't always ovulate every month, and if you're not ovulating every month, that means that you can't get pregnant. So for some women, they might go months and months without having a period, which means that they've not ovulated, which then makes it very difficult for them to get pregnant if they're not ovulating. Or like me, it's very hard for me to track when I'm ovulating because my periods are so irregular, so it makes it a hell of a lot more difficult for me to pinpoint when I am actually ovulating to give it a go. So generally that is how PCOS does affect fertility. We don't know when we're ovulating, or we might not be ovulating, and yeah, it just makes that a lot more difficult, and that is what causes infertility. But I hate using that word because it scares so many women. So does PCOS make you infertile? I'm gonna say no, it doesn't, but might you need a little bit more help to get pregnant? Yes, that might be the case. And that kind of links into the next question, where somebody asked, can you ovulate and not have a period? So many women might find that they have a month where they don't ovulate and still get a period, but if you ovulate, you will get a period. So that's the difference there. Somebody asked, does the pill, the contraceptive pill, cause PCOS? And really difficult for me to answer. There is research out there that does suggest that the contraceptive pill can cause PCOS. When I asked my doctor whether it does, she was reluctant to give me a straight answer. I think there's so many different factors that can cause PCOS, and it is really dependent on the person. As I mentioned in a previous video, I had a scan 4 years ago and there was no signs of PCOS. I came off contraception in May 2020 and I've been having problems since then. So I have no idea when my PCOS developed. I have no idea whether it was caused by the pill. So in all honesty, I'm not sure. Do I think so? Absolutely. Somebody else said, I have lost my period, could it be PCOS? And short answer, yes it could be, but it could also be many other things. If you've been following my channel for a while, you will know that when I came off the pill and I'd lost my period, I was first diagnosed with hypothalamic amenorrhea. So I was trying to fix the signals from my brain to my ovaries because my doctor believed that that was the issue, that my brain wasn't talking to my ovaries correctly and it was kind of like secondary amenorrhea. And if I focused on my diet and lifestyle, she reckoned that my period would come back. So you could have also lost your period because of hypothalamic amenorrhea. You could have lost your period because of PCOS. There's other conditions such as endometriosis. Like, there are so many different reasons as to why women lose their periods. So don't just think that it's PCOS. Think about what are the symptoms that you might be experiencing, as I mentioned before, whether you've got acne, hair loss, excessive hair, painful periods. Make a note of all these symptoms that you might be experiencing. You might be experiencing no symptoms, but what I would suggest is booking an appointment to go and see your doctor. Make a note of how long you've not had your period for, and really push for them to investigate this, because if you've not learned anything from my channel, you really do have to push your doctor to take you seriously. If they tell you to go back on contraception to help get your period back, say absolutely not. What I would say is that the pill masks these kind of symptoms. You don't ovulate when you're on contraception, you don't get a real period when you're on contraception, and it won't help solve the underlying issue. So if your doctor tells you to go on the pill, find another goddamn doctor and push for your doctor to do some further blood tests, whether they send you off for a scan, to really investigate the reason why you don't have your period. Because ladies, it is not normal to not have a period. Somebody asked about my scan. As I mentioned in a previous video, I went for an external and internal scan, and somebody asked whether the internal scan hurts because they were due to go and have one as well. And I will say it didn't hurt, all in all. They will show you what they're going to put inside you first, so I would say that it was about this big, but she explained that only the top half goes in. It's quite slim, so I would say the speculum is worse going in compared to this. They use lubricant, they use a condom, so there's no issues there. I didn't feel it going in. What I did feel was her really turning it inside of me to get a full view of inside my womb. It didn't hurt. I could feel it inside. It felt uncomfortable, and I will admit at one point I did feel a little bit sick, but pain, no. Discomfort, yes, but I think that's fair enough when somebody's really digging around in there. But if at any point you feel pain or discomfort, just let them know and they will stop. I just took lots of deep breaths. I really tried to focus on something else, think of something else, and yeah, just take myself to like a happy place until she was finished. But please don't worry about it. It doesn't hurt. A little bit of discomfort for a little bit and then we're done. And the last question was, does ovulation tracking work? And I feel like I can't give a definite answer on this just yet because I am so early days into this. If you don't have PCOS, this is a really good tool for you. If you've got no hormonal issues, no hormonal imbalances, yes, 100% this should work. Give it a go. For me with PCOS, my LH can surge at different points in the month, which can throw me off. I might not ovulate, so it might not be as effective for somebody with a hormone imbalance. But for your average woman who is trying to get pregnant and has no hormonal issues, yes, 100% give it a go. You'll be able to see when your LH surges, and then you know when to try for a baby. They are all the questions that I got from you guys on Instagram. If there's anything that I missed, please just throw it in the comments down below and I will get back to you. As I mentioned before, I don't get my scan results for another 2 weeks, so if you've messaged me to ask how that went, I'm sorry, I've got to wait until the 10th of February to find out. So in the meantime, I'm going to be making some dietary and lifestyle changes, and I actually just got a delivery from the Protein Works to help with that. So keep an eye out for that video. We are going to be making some changes to see whether I can help with my symptoms. But otherwise, that is it from me. I hope you found today's video useful. Don't forget to subscribe, and as I say, go and follow me over on Instagram because I do also share content on there. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video.